I'm Terrence James, and you're watching another episode of Neutral Reviews, where we do real reviews for real decisions. And today we are looking at the 2023 Jeep Wagoneer L. And I have borrowed the keys for this vehicle from Oxford Dodge in London, Ontario, who has an amazing new facility, welcoming atmosphere, and who also offers some of the most fun and luxurious vehicles on the road today, including this one. Now, the Wagoneer and Grande Wagoneer both came out for the 2022 model year and were to pay homage to the past and give us a glimpse at the full-size luxury SUV market with Jeep or Wagoneer in it. It is a modern interpretation of that classic 80s and 90s Wagoneer that we know, love, and remember, but it is really just to get us back to those luxurious roots where the Wagoneer started. And if I'm honest, this is more like an Audi or a Land Rover on the inside than it is a Ford or a Chevy. But one thing that it does do better than those European fancy people haulers is go off-road. And not only is it better at going off-road than them, it's also better at towing. You can pull and tow more things off the back of this, things that you can buy with the money that you would save by going with the Jeep or the Wagoneer. So let's take a look at the facts, feels, and final thoughts of the 2023 Jeep Wagoneer L. Let's take a look. And Jeep uses their 3-liter inline-6 twin-turbocharged engine with direct injection, which is capable of producing 420 horsepower and 468 pound-feet of torque, which is capable of rocketing the 6,200-pound luxury condo on wheels from 0 to 60 in around 5.5–6 seconds. And all that power keeps running through its 8-speed torque-flight automatic transmission. And before I forget to mention, you're looking at around a 115-liter tank on here with around 19–20 miles per gallon combined on here if you're not towing anything or going too crazy. And all that power continues to run through its full-time 4-wheel drive system. And on the Series 3 here, this has been upgraded to give you a 2-speed transfer case. You got a low speed and an LSD or limited slip differential in the back, which is going to help you in those true off-road situations and or towing as well, which leads me to my first performance test. Okay, here's where we do our traffic light Grand Prix acceleration test. Like, we want to race up to that stoplight as fast as we can just to hammer on the brakes. So here we go. We got it in sport mode, and away we go. Whoa, that's actually surprisingly quick. And hammer on the brakes. Oh, that's actually also surprisingly good, like crazy good. Pass. So as you can see, we like to have a lot of fun in those acceleration tests, but this vehicle for a large vehicle does just fine. So just getting away from stoplights, things like that, not only is it peppy enough, it's got lots and lots of pep, as we were saying, but it's smooth. That 8-speed does a really good job. Great, easy to get on the highway, easy to pass people and things like that. Absolutely no worry when it comes to acceleration, even though it's a giant vehicle. But you also have to steer, and it uses their electronic power assisted steering, or EPS unit, rack and pinion nowadays. And it steers these beautiful. You can either get 20-inch wheels on here, machined aluminum, or you can get the upgraded 22 polished aluminum wheels. And when we see here for tires, it is wrapped in these two 85/45 22s, because these are those polished aluminum wheels and they look really good, especially on this larger vehicle. It makes it fit a little bit better, I think, in my own opinion anyway. But you still have to stop, and we've got your 2-piston brakes. Actually, I don't know, those look like they might be 4, actually. I have no idea how many pistons those are, but they look decent in the back here, in the front for size, and the same with the back. But I do know you have 14.9 inch vented rotors in the front and 14.8 solid in the rear. And when we're looking to stop, this giant vehicle is actually not too bad. You're looking around 200 feet approximately on your 70 to 0 testing there. And when we talk about suspension, well, it uses double wishbone up front, which is a great luxurious system and helps put the rubber on the road a lot better and gives you a lot more contact patch and a better drive all around. And also it uses multi-link in the rear. So even though what we're going to talk about the platform in a second, that this is a body on truck frame platform like a pickup truck, they've actually adapted that Ram 1500 platform to give you full independent suspension. So this does drive for a truck quite well. And with that being so, when we're talking about that platform or that Ram ladder frame, so we do have an adapted truck frame on here. So that's part of the reason why it's very, very capable. Now you have a 130-inch wheelbase. Now with that being so, because it's a body on truck truck frame, it's not going to handle like a race car by any means. So you're around about 0.7 Gs, somewhere around there. And again, it sounds terrible, and it is. But when you get this out and drive, it is amazing how well it handles for something so big, especially even if you look at vehicles like this from 10, 15 years ago, or especially those ones from the 80s or 90s. And when we talk about this chassis and what kind of noise, vibration, and harshness it has, you're looking about 70 or 65 decibels on the highway, which is pretty good. And when we're talking about going through the air or its coefficient of drag, well, it's a bit of a brick. You're looking at 0.35. And when we come to the back, the claim to fame here is its towing because of the engine and because of this body on truck frame. So when properly equipped, you are able to tow up to 10,000 pounds with your Wagoneer or Grand Wagoneer, which is the equivalent to one of these active urban lifestyles hanging off the back of your Wagoneer, which leads me to my next performance test. Okay, and here's where we do our highway and handling test. This will give you an idea of how this rides on the highways. Are quiet, you know, how is the suspension, things like that. So we're not on like a highway, we're on like a county highway where you're gonna get speeds pretty close to the highway. So we're coming up over a set of train tracks, as you can see here, and well, not bad actually. It's very, very supple. Does definitely feel very, very luxurious. And here, we're gonna show you how it goes around this corner. This is a pretty big corner, so here we go. Give it some gusto. As you can see, that holds really, really well. This really does not feel really like a body on truck frame to me. Pass. So as you can see, it handles quite well getting on the highway there, and just even going around town and things like that. We did a QX80 Infinity, which is another body on truck frame, large vehicle like this, and it handled okay, but it felt like a body on truck frame. This does handle quite well day to day. No, it's not a race car or anything like that, but it does handle pretty well, and as you can see, it was quiet on the highway as well. But one of the other claims to fame for this vehicle is the amount of space on the inside, so let's talk cargo. Let's see if we can even get in the back of this thing. Has it got a nice sensor or something back here? I don't feel like dancing today. Oh, we're close to dancing. We can get in. We better get out of the way though. And as you can see, there is tons and tons of space here. You're looking at 14 cubic feet with that third row up, and 130 cubic feet with all the seats down, which I want to show you in a second because it leads me to my first test. All right, so can I sleep like a starfish inside my Wagoneer? Oh, it's quite a jump for somebody only 5'7" to get back here, but I am spry. Oh. Oh, that's actually not bad. Passed. You can definitely sleep like a starfish in the back of your Wagoneer. So as you can see, you can fit just fine in the back of your Wagoneer, even if you sleep like a starfish. Now, you might be wondering, why am I holding a GoPro camera like a microphone? Well, it's because I want to try to get you guys closer to the action. So we're going to try something new this episode. Instead of doing as much B-roll, we're going to try to use this live to get you in the action with our neutral reviewer cam. There's some marketing for you, or our comment cam. But in all seriousness, leave a comment at the end of this episode to see whether or not you like this idea. If so, we'll try to get better and better at it over time. So here we go. Let's just see how you get those seats down. So we could have did that test we were talking about. So as you can see here with our comment cam, you've got these nice convenient buttons here. So we'll just hit those like a little kid because that's fun. Watch them all go down. And look at all that space. That is absolutely incredible and convenient. And as you can see too, you've got all different kinds of tie downs back here with these rails, which are kept underneath here, I believe. Yes. And as you can see, that's really nice too, because you're going to be able to keep stuff in there, keep it concealed and keep it clean, because this looks like you'd be able to spill stuff in there. It's got a little drain plug and take stuff right out. All different kinds of tie downs here, stuff there. I mean, you got your 12-volt plug-in. The whole point of this vehicle is to be very usable. But, you know, that being so, one of the places where you're using is sitting down in the middle there. So let's try those seats out. Here we go. Okay, so let's check out the back here of the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer. As you can see, it's nice, these convenient power steps on here, which is nice when you got little legs like me. Now, that is an option on these, but it's a nice option to have, so they tuck away when you're not using it, and you shut the door. And when we speak of the doors, they do open up quite a ways, but not as much as I would hope. But then, that being so, this being a large SUV, you still have plenty of room to get things in and out, including car seats and things like that. And as you can see, I do have a car seat beside me here, and there's still a fair amount of space, and you do have this middle seat here as well. So with this middle seat, I'm sure it's probably not the most comfortable. I'll sit on it in a second, but you do have cup holders and things like that, and I will go over to the middle. Not bad, actually, all things considered. But there's definitely lots of space. And as we said, you can option buckets or captain's chairs back here if you want, but these seats are separated even in the bench form. So if you want to have some of the seats down or some of the seats up, you can do that, which is really convenient. One of the other things to say back here is, too, you got these convenient mat pockets. Nice plastic on the back of the doors here, so it does make it a little bit more rugged, especially if people are kicking it and things like that, little kids or adults. And when we come here too, as you can see, we do have this very nice digital display. This is upgraded, I believe, for the Grand Wagoneer, more of a TV screen type thing, but really nice to have hard buttons and a little digital display there. And you do have a actual plug here, which is nice. I'm surprised it's not in the back cargo area, but it's nice to have, period. And another 12 volt here, which is convenient, and you have USB and USB-C. And then, of course, you have this giant moonroof that breaks up a little bit and then does go all the way to the back. Now, when we talk about the back, let's go to our first test, which is, can I get in the back of this thing if I have a baby seat in one of these middle row seats? So let's give it a check. Okay, let's see if we can get in the back of this by keeping our baby seat in the middle here, because that would be much more convenient. Now, you could either lift it up with the manual handle, or you have a push of a button here. When you go like this, as you can see, depending on the style of the baby seat that you have, it's not going to lift up. But what the idea of this is, to make it a lot more convenient, depending if you have a booster seat or things like that, it does make it a lot more convenient to get into the back. As you can see, it just flips right forward. And as you can see, there's a fair amount of space back here, and it's not too bad to get into. So let's just give it a try. So there you go. I can almost walk right in here. Now, again, to be fair, you can't... Hello, there I am. Or let's try that. Yeah, to be fair, you can't really tell because I'm 5'7" back here, but there is plenty and plenty of space, definitely. So if we pull the seat back here, that's pretty much as far back as it goes. And I don't think I mentioned it before, but these chairs, whether they're captains or these split buckets here, they do both slide back and forth like a conventional kind of minivan seat, and they do also recline, making it a lot more comfortable. This bench here in the back, I don't believe that it moves back and forth. And let me see if it reclines. No, but I gotta say, it is quite comfortable. And as you can see, you have more plugins back here. Ooh, sorry. Look at that. Ooh, that's nice. Power reclining back here. Ooh, definitely. Other side as well, and as we showed you, you do have that nice sunroof. As far as ventilation and things like that goes back here, it doesn't look like you have your own air conditioning as far as doing the temperature and things like that on your own, but definitely you do have vents back here, so they don't want you to suffocate, so that's nice. Let's check out the front. So as you can see, you can get in there pretty easily, and there's a fair amount of space back there. So not bad at all for a third row. But what we really want to check out is up front, because that's what's happening up there with the driver. Let's check it out. Okay, looking at the front of the 2023 Wagoneer. So this is incredible in here. Let's just start off with the steering wheel like we normally do. I quite like it. It's a nice steering wheel, though. I have to say, for Jeep or for Chrysler slash Dodge, aside from like that Scat Pack I did or something, this is quite a chunky steering wheel. It does seem very German in that regard, very Audi or BMW or something thick. It does feel quite nice in the hand. And just in general here, it's really nice materials. You've got a lot of soft touches, leathers. I don't know if this is real wood or not, but it definitely looks pretty good. We'll do that on the old comment cam here. But yeah, and even here with the push button start, you can see there's leather up there. A lot of nice touches here. Now, one of the things a lot of people don't like is the piano black. Now, I actually do like the piano black, but sparingly. And here, I personally think it's a little too much in here. I think they could have did something different. But in general, I think it looks pretty good in around your infotainments and things like that. As you can see here, it definitely does look quite luxurious. And when we're talking about infotainment while we're here, this is a beautiful screen. Now, one of the things you are going to notice on the Grand Wagoneer is more screens, bigger screens, better screens. But even here with the Wagoneer, this is still a luxury vehicle as far as they're concerned, what they're marketing, and it's very, very nice, which leads me to my first interior test. Can I figure out how to work this infotainment when you're a tech nightmare like me? Here we go. Okay, here's our first test. Can we actually get home? So we're gonna figure out if we can figure that out. Now, as we're saying that, first time I've used this, and it looks pretty nice. Yes, there's some piano black on here and gonna be some smudges, but it does look pretty slick, I have to say. So there's a few different ways you can get to your heated seats, heated steering wheel. You can do that on the side here, but one kind of neat thing is there's this button in the middle here, and whether it's heated seats or cooled seats, you can actually pick if you want top or bottom to be heated or cooled, or both, which is pretty cool. I don't know if I've seen that before. The actual screen itself is kind of small, but I do like the way that they've kind of hid it in there to make it look bigger than it really is. Pretty neat that way. So yeah, let's go to our test. So we go to navigation, because this has it being a premium vehicle, which is nice. Some vehicles nowadays don't. And of course you do have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but you know, if you want to use this, it's nice to have it built in. So let's go to search, because I'm guessing that's what we're gonna do. And we're gonna go Oxford, me and my 12 words a minute. Oh boy, can't even spell. Oxford Dodge. This is painful. My typing's painful. All right, Oxford Dodge, look at that, popped right up. Okay, nice, pass. So as you can see, that wasn't too bad, and considering, you know, I am terrible with technology, all in all, that was pretty good and easy to use, as you can see. Now, what we want to talk about here is other engagement points. Actually, before we get to that, just to say that the steering wheel, obviously an electric vehicle, is telescopic, ooh, and tilting. Nice. Electronic obviously works pretty good. Other engagement pieces here, as we were showing, you've got this turn dial here for your automatic transmission, works pretty good. You got all other kinds of buttons here. It looks like, which we may or may not have time to test, we'll see, is some parking features, automatic parking features. You got like a tow haul mode, which is nice, a traction control button, automatic start stop you can turn off on this, which is nice. And this vehicle here actually has air suspension, so what you can do here is you can actually lift the vehicle up, and you can get it from, I think, around 8.3 inches or so, a little over 8 inches of ground clearance, all the way up to 10, which is going to be important for certain off-roading, if you will. And of course you have different traction modes over here. You got rock, snow, mud, sand, mud, snow, auto, and sport. So again, Jeep is really good about giving you a lot of different options when it comes to the different surfaces and things like that. Now, obviously, it is automatic transmission, so nothing fancy there. I think it's electronic parking brake down here. So we don't have that minivan one like that Challenger we had the other day. And as you can see, like all the switch gear and stuff is pretty nice on here for a Chrysler product, I have to say. It feels good in the hand, looks good. Yeah, it's really nice. And as far as convenience features go, I mean, you got tons of space. Like, look at all that in there. You can pack quite a lunch in there, and I eat a lot. And then up top here, you can slide that. You got more plugins. Like, I don't know how many things you want to plug in this vehicle, but you got lots. Yeah, what else to talk about? You got more storage there, and of course, oh, I'm so small I can barely lean over. That's how big this vehicle is. To look in the glove box. Surprisingly, I thought that would be bigger, but still really decent size. You do have your door cards on here, and again, they do look pretty good, but if you look at my water bottle here, for this type of vehicle, that does look like it's going to slide around a little bit, but I mean, you've got a million other places to put your water bottles and things like that in here. When we're talking screens, the other screen I want to mention before we forget about it is, of course, your instrument cluster here, or your digital gauge for the driver. And it is very nice. I mean, I've seen nicer screens in the sense of a little bit clearer and crisper, like the Audi we were mentioning, but this definitely looks very good. I like the way that it goes all the way across here, as you can see, which is pretty nice. And what you can't see that well, let's just see here. We'll bring up our little comment camera. I'm sure there will be comments because I don't know, I can't see through my viewfinder, but I can see it with my eye, the heads-up display. So it's nice that they have the heads-up display on here, but I have to say, I have been in vehicles where it's a little brighter. I don't believe it's dangerous or anything else like that. I'm just saying, like, it's not as crisp or clear as some of them I've seen. You got all kinds of other stuff, but as we showed before, you do have this beautiful panoramic sunroof on here that goes all the way back to the third row. And when it comes to visibility in here, As you can see from a driver's perspective, you do have lots and lots of greenhouse space. Being a Dodge Chrysler vehicle, Jeep, it does have thick pillars on here. I wouldn't say it blinds you. It does give you the illusion of safety. They're thicker than some vehicles, but you do definitely have a lot of greenhouse space in here. And for a big vehicle, you do feel like you have a lot of visibility. But I think we've gone through a lot of the facts and things like that. So let's take this thing for a drive and do a few more tests. Okay, and here's where we're doing a quick turnaround test to see if we can get this big building around and U-turn in a hurry here. So here we go, we got it in drive. I want to go off the ditch in the reverse. Oh, come on. Oh, nice dynamic lines, as you can see. And pass. This thing's incredible. Okay, and for our next test, we want to do our parking test, but not a backing test, and we're not going to have enough time to try out this automatic parking. But what I want to show you what this vehicle has is I think is pretty neat, is it does have a front camera. So I think you can go through it this way anyway. You can go for your camera settings, so your surround camera. We hit that, and as you can see at the bottom here, it shows you on these graphics, you got ones off the back bumper, the front bumper, ones that look like they'd help you when you're lining up for towing and things like that. But we just want to look at the front one here, and I think with a vehicle this big, that is really helpful to have a front camera. I really do. So here, we're going to put it in drive, and we're just going to try to pull up into this spot here and see if we can get close to that car in front of us and know that we're not going to bump into them. Pass. All right, here's where we do our rants, raves, price, and competition, leading us into the final thought. So not a lot to really rant about on this. I thought there might be, because I used to sell Jeeps a long time ago, and they've always been very, very capable off-road. Absolutely, we'd go to these things called Jeep College, and I was surprised that, I wasn't surprised at the Jeep TJs and things like that, but at the time, the Jeep Patriots and things like that, you know, more of your commodity products, they could do same thing any Jeep could. It's absolutely phenomenal. Kind of like Porsche is always going to be a really good handling car, no matter what one that you get, but obviously a GT3 is going to be better. Same with this. Any Jeep is going to be great off-road and things like that, but of course you get your Rubicons and things like that, they're going to be more extreme. But it's absolutely impressive at how far this has come with the interior quality, because that was one of the things when I was selling vehicles for Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep. We're a bit of a laughing stock of the industry with our interior materials, design choices, quality, fit and finish, all that stuff. But this has come a long way. Even when you press on stuff, I don't hear a lot of creaks or things like that. It's really well put together. Very nice. Very nice. And as far as raves go, I'm already into the raves, is I just can't believe how nice this is and how good it handles with some of these tests, and the acceleration is pretty impressive, I have to say, for any vehicle, let alone a Jeep product. Which leads me into price, because the price, as you can see in the screen there, is very decent. You have the Wagoneer and you have your Grand Wagoneer. The Wagoneer being the luxury, but the Grand one is not so much that it's bigger, it's the same size, you know, whether you get the normal or the L extended length or wheelbase on those, but it's really grandeur or nicer, believe it or not. So you, like we said, you got screens everywhere. It's over the top, really, for the Grand Wagoneer. Now when you're looking at competition, well, you know, as we said, you're going to be looking nowadays at some of these Europeans, Land Rover, Jaguar, things like that. But realistically, most people are going to be cross-shopping probably the Yukon Denali, Ford Expedition, or that Infiniti QX80, things like that. Your other very large luxury body-on-frame, truck frame type SUVs that are going to be capable off-road. Like, obviously, people aren't going to be off-roading this, but as in you're going boating or cottaging or something, it's going to be very capable. Some of those vehicles, I mean, they've been around for a while, those domestics, so they're probably even better than this as far as some of the pedigree and things, but this interior really is next level. It really does look more like the Europeans, and the fact that this can tow as much as any the competition or more when we're talking about those domestics and things like that, and it has that extra capability for off-roading. I really don't think that you can go wrong with this, which leads me to my final thoughts. Now, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and check out one of our other giant luxury SUV reviews so we can get more cool cars like this one in our upcoming review. Now, we started off this review by looking to put the facts against the feels for the all-new 2023 Jeep Wagoneer L. And here's the facts and feels that we used to come up with this final thought. which is, if you were in the market for a giant, full-size, body-on-frame luxury SUV, I don't think that you can go wrong with the 2023 Jeep Wagoneer. Reason being is, as we said, whether you get the Wagoneer or the Grand Wagoneer, I think this is Jeep's first attempt at marketing or branding themselves in the luxury market, very similar to Lincoln for Ford, as we said, in the competition, or when you're looking at something like Cadillac for Chevy. Definitely a huge upgrade for Jeep. You still have all of that great towing and off-road capability, but it really is quite a vehicle on the inside. Now, much like we said with our Infiniti QX80, which is another giant luxury SUV body on frame, I'd have to say after reviewing both of these, they're both wonderful, very similar type price points and things like that, very similar capabilities, but I do have to say that the Jeep is probably a little bit nicer, more modern on the inside, believe it or not, and it actually does handle a lot more like a car than that traditional truck frame on that Infiniti QX80. So as we said, I don't think that you can go wrong, aside from not being able to pass too many gas pumps, with the all-new 2023 Jeep Wagoneer. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.